Welcome back to News in Focus. Joining me now, I'd like to welcome Angel Khanyile. She's a member of Parliament for the Democratic Alliance. She's also a member of the Portfolio Committee on Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities. Angel, good day. Thank you so much for joining us here on News in Focus on Hilaal TV.
Thank you. Good afternoon to you and good afternoon to your viewers. And thank you for having me.
No, it's an absolute pleasure. Angel, let's start off, of course, where women in the year 2025 in terms of the political spectrum within South Africa?
Yes.
Now, I was saying, where are women in the year 2025 in terms of the political spectrum within South Africa? How would you assess it for this year?
I think we have made some stride as a country, to be very honest with you. I think you have also noticed that there's quite a number of female representatives, even in Parliament and in the executive, which basically means that women now have a voice as well. There's quite an improvement, though I do believe that more can still be done in terms of ensuring that we get more women on board.
You were mentioning, of course, representation. Women currently hold 46% of the seats within National Assembly and 36% within the National Council of Provinces. In your view, is this enough in terms of an overall representation, or have female representation exceeded expectations?
That is why I have said initially, I do believe that more can still be done in ensuring that we have more women on board. But with that being said, I also believe that more women that are going to be brought on board, they need to be brought on board based on merit. Because also, if you look at our statistics in terms of female versus male in our country, we have more females than male. So it would be better if we can get more representation, maybe just above 50%, and increase the number in the NCOP. But not only in terms of numbers as well, I do believe that the work that is being done in Parliament in terms of legislation could actually speak to the issues that are on the ground and speak in terms of addressing the issues that are on the ground. Some of the issues that I may be referring to, number one, it is the issue of unemployment. Number two, the issue of gender-based violence. I think those are the issues that we may need to ensure that as a country, we do all we can and we put more resources in terms of ensuring that those issues are addressed.
Angel, when politics as a sphere, as a field, as a job, it's probably the most daunting, the most hostile, and definitely the most intense when dealing with it. What would you say are some of the main challenges facing women entering this field?
I think what we need more in Parliament that needs to be done, it is the capacitation of women members of Parliament so that they can understand better the role that they need to play in ensuring that they empower our communities. Because when you get to Parliament, majority, if not all members of Parliament, especially in a democratic alliance, we are all allocated constituencies. And with the work that we do within our constituencies, that is exactly where most of the issues are. Issues of service delivery, issues of inequality, issues of gender-based violence that I have mentioned, unemployment, you will get those issues there. Then it is very important to understand that there are various mechanisms in Parliament that members of Parliament can be able to utilize in ensuring that they drive those issues in Parliament and ensure that their constituencies or the people that have mandated us to be in Parliament, they find their voice through the various mechanisms. So there are trainings that are actually taking place in Parliament, but I do believe that more needs to be done, or more training. Maybe we need to have a number more trainings than what we're currently having. I think there are trainings that are happening, if not once per quarter in a year, which I feel is not enough. More trainings they need to take place to ensure that female members of Parliament are capacitated to be able to discharge their duties.
Angel, I think we can both agree that there has been an improvement, I think, globally in terms of female representation from a political sphere, but still not where I think we would like it to be. Um, why do you feel women are still unrepresented in high political positions globally?
Um, Honestly, I think it is the system maybe that various political parties are using in terms of selecting female members of parliament, number one. Number two, at times you find that on the ground, there are still even voters that do not believe that women have what it takes to champion for their issues. I think also the public education will also play a vital role in ensuring that we see our women in various platforms, in various positions of influence, where they're going to ensure that the women voices are actually heard. And I've also picked up that even within, I'm just going to speak about government
Sure.
because we conduct oversight of our government. In most of the reports that we have received in the past year, I have joined this portfolio of women, youth, and persons with disabilities in June last year, immediately after elections. I have picked up that even government itself is lagging behind when it comes to issues of meeting their equity target. Women are still not employed, and they're still not employed also in higher positions. So those are some of the things that we need to look at. I think the government itself, they need to take women seriously, and we also need to educate the public so that they can be able to have confidence in their women members or female members of parliament or female leaders.
After the break, I'll continue my conversation with Angel Khanyile. We're going to be focusing on the portfolio committee, of course, which she is part of, that is a woman, youth, and persons with disabilities, and especially the woman part of it, given that we are in Women's Month. Do stay tuned. My conversation continues after the break. Welcome back to News in Focus. I'm still in conversation with Angel Khanyile, Member of Parliament for the Democratic Alliance. And Angel, I want to come to this over here with regards to the portfolio committee that you serve in. Women, youth, and persons with disabilities. It's one of those departments, ministries that probably doesn't receive the funding or the attention that it deserves. I mean, surely that's a frustration, isn't it, given the high rise of abuse amongst or against a woman and children, not only as we speak about it now in Women's Month, but it's also something that we focus on in the 16 days of activism, which starts, of course, ends towards the end of November and start of December.
To be very honest with you, I do believe that more budget needs to be allocated to this portfolio. And in the debates that I just had now, the budget vote that we just had, I think you are aware that we just passed the budget in Parliament.
Yes.
One of the issues that are raised was the issue that we need to have more funds allocated in this portfolio so that we can be able to deal with the issues of gender-based violence. And we've also raised the government's dragging its feet in terms of ensuring that the National Council on Gender-Based Violence was appointed speedily. Up until now, the department or the minister is still in negotiations with the Treasury. There's no budget that has been made available. And each and every day, we read about reports about a woman that have been killed or a child that have been killed. And not only that, we also have a serious challenge when it comes to issues of sanitary dignity packs.
Sure.
The National Treasury is availing budget that is meant to ensure that the sanitary dignity packs are made available and they are distributed to schools. But as a monitoring department, this budget does not come to us. And the National Treasury does not also monitor that budget. It is actually used for what it is meant for, because some provinces, they use this budget for other things. Others, they buy stationery. Others, they buy cleaning materials, because in various provinces, you have about 5 provinces that are looked after by the Department of Education and other provinces that are looked after by social development. So immediately when that budget is allocated, is not addressed for this very important task. We are all aware that every month, girl children, they lose some days of school when they're on their periods because of various reasons. Others, they're just afraid that they may soil themselves or make themselves dirty, and that is going to cause an embarrassment, and that may even lead them to have a lower self-esteem. So when it is that time of the month, they don't even go to school. There is a budget that is made available. It does not even sit within this portfolio committee, and the other departments, they just do whatever that they want to do with it. We did raise those issues during the debates that we have had when we're debating the Vote 20, which is the one for women, youth, and persons with disabilities, and the Budget Vote 1, which is the presidency. We are hoping that going forward, they are going to ensure that more budget is allocated in this portfolio, even though it is a monitoring portfolio. I think that could be one of or some of the reasons why there isn't much budget that is coming into this portfolio, because it also interlinks with other portfolios like your portfolio of basic education, higher education, SABS, and others. But still, the work that needs to be done, the officials are not able to get tangible results because there is budget constraints. They're also unable to move around in ensuring that they monitor all the departments properly. But we are hoping that going forward, National Treasury is going to increase the allocation for this portfolio.
Angel, I want to touch again on gender-based violence, because unfortunately it's something that we have to speak about, but we speak about it in a very negative light, because it is still a pandemic, it is still a scourge that is affecting so many in our society, the less vulnerable, especially women and girls that are living in societies where there is no real protection for them. And I was speaking to Vuisa Ramugopa from Rise Mzansi, who's of course the MEC for Agriculture and Rural Development, and she said that we must not get tired of talking about it up until we have defeated this pandemic. Angel, from your perspective, what more needs to be done from a legislative area in order to make sure more is done to eliminate this pandemic?
I think from the legislative area, most areas they have been covered. What we need now is to go on the ground as leaders to educate our members of the public to be able to identify abuse. I think you are aware that there was a study that was done, and it was found that majority of women are still in abusive relationships because majority of them are unemployed and they rely on their abusers to provide for them. And this takes us back to the issue that I raised initially, that one of the challenges we are faced with as a country, it is the unemployment of women within our country. More work needs to be done by the public and the private sector in ensuring that the women are capacitated, women are in business, women find themselves in various opportunities that they can be or they fit in. And secondly, we need to also educate the parents about their right also in terms of reprimanding and reporting. I think you also are aware that some of the issues that we are faced with over and above gender-based violence, it is the statutory rape. Yes. Within our communities, we have many older men that are taking advantage of our young girls, and parents do not know how much power they do have in terms of reporting these incidents. And also the Children's Act, it also enables the teachers and the doctors to be able to report these incidents immediately when they picked up. Because at this moment, most of the systems that we have in place or the implementations, the actions that we have, they're just reactionary. You can only learn about gender-based violence once somebody has been attacked already and they open a case. But then you ask yourself, were they capacitated or empowered initially just before it happened so that they can be able to spot the signs? You know, a violence or GBV, it is not only a physical attack when somebody finally attacks you. It is how they speak to you. Sure. It is how they address you. The signs are always there. But if you are not capacitated to be in a position to identify, you will stay in that relationship until it is too late. Going back to the issue of teenage pregnancy or statutory rape, a lot of cases, they are not identified until a child is pregnant and is going into labor, it is only at the hospital that they are going to now release the stats that we have a certain number this year of girls between the 10 and 14 years of age that have given birth. But it is too late because now this child is already going to lose their childhood at the age of 10 years, 11, 12, 14, they become mothers. Whereas if the society was empowered at an earlier stage, immediately, if you're an adult or a teacher, you recognize that your learners are in a relationship, even especially with older men, you'll be able to go and report to SAPS so that these men can actually be prosecuted. So I do believe that what needs to be done now, we just need to ensure that we are mostly on the ground. We are educating our members of the community about their rights. And what I have also done in my constituency, I think it was around April, yes, it was in April. I organized a meeting between the Social Development, Department of Education, and the pastors. And we also had NYDA in that meeting. We had NYDA because they're also looking after the issues of young persons. Why I organize these stakeholders, I do believe that it is easy for pastors to get members of the community because they self-mobilize themselves. Most families, every Sunday, they go to church. So if they can have a certain allocation, even if it's just for 15 minutes, where they're going to educate the parents about their rights, even though the kids do have their rights, the parents still have a right to protect their children against being exploited by older men and all other societal illnesses that we are faced with. And secondly, the church can also be able to help us educate our youngsters in terms of knowing how to separate wrong from right, how they make their decisions. I think they will close that gap. And it's also very important for them to work hand in hand with the social development so that if there's a certain behavior that is being picked up by church leaders within their church, they can then report it to the social workers, then they intervene. If it is something that needs SAPS, it will be escalated to SAPS. And then we brought in Department of Education because we have noticed that most of these learners that indulge in relationship with older men, they are still in school. So we wanted to bring the education closer also to the church leaders so that they can be able to have a collaboration effort, ensure that they have a continued discussion around these issues and they educate one another. So we are going to have a follow-up meeting somewhere around September so that we can be able to identify if there's any fruitful results that is coming out of that meeting. And hopefully there will be. If we get a positive report, which I'm hoping for, this is something that is going to be rolled out to other provinces as well and other constituencies. But still, even if there isn't any fruitful results at the moment, I think it's going to be very important for us to go back and assess what went wrong and where can we fix. I almost forgot to mention that we also roped in the Department of Health. As I've indicated, that majority of the children that fall pregnant at a younger age, they picked up by the Department of Health. So they also came and presented their case and gave us the exact numbers that are actually related to my constituency.
Angel, I have to stop you there because I just throw in this question before, of course, we close off. In your view, how close or how far are we in terms of having a female president in our country? Of course, we've had female mayors, we've had female premiers, but for the Republic of South Africa, I mean, where are we in terms of finally having a female leader from a national perspective?
Honestly, I think at the moment that is a question that's a little bit tricky to answer. When you look at majority of the leaders in various political parties at the moment, it is male, and those male are elected by members of their party, which is an indication that as a country we still believe that male should lead us. It is something that is possible, but I really cannot tell how close are we. I think we just need to keep on watching how the congresses turn out. It is definitely the voters that are voting in those congresses that are going to give direction or an answer when it comes to that question.
Angel Khanyile, absolute pleasure having you on. Thank you so much for joining us here on News in Focus on Hilaal TV.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
That's Angel Khanyile, DA Member of Parliament, and of course, she's also a member of the Portfolio Committee on Women, Youth, and Persons with Disabilities. Well, that's not the end of News in Focus, because up next, we've been given another 24 minutes or so. I'm going to be chatting to Khalid Albay. He's a political cartoonist from Sudan, a civil rights activist, and a freelance journalist. He unveiled a sculpture at the Nirok Sculpture Park. It's here in Roodepoort, in Gauteng. We're going to be discussing that and, of course, the current civil war that is happening within Sudan. So do stay tuned for that conversation after this break.